Thank you so much. One of the things I love most about this room is Ed Blair, who I've known for a long time. Ed originally started off with a burger lunch for pastors. And so we would decide what the best burger was in the city of Dallas. So I don't know, is there an actual answer to what the best burger is in the city of Dallas now?
Next month we finish our 15th year with pastors here.
Yeah.
Every month they get the burgers, we'll start 16. Now, here's the problem. You like a third pounder, or a half pounder?
Here's the secret. This is what I fooled you. I don't even like burgers, Ed. I just showed up because somebody was paying.
He got tuna burgers.
Yeah.
He got tuna burgers. We still laugh.
Tuna burgers, turkey burgers. I know how to work the system. Hot dogs. I remember I would be the only one eating a hot dog. But as Tim said, I run a marketing and fundraising agency that helps nonprofits be able to find the right donors and really help them, compel them to want to join your mission and come on board with you. And I've been able to work with some of the biggest nonprofits in the world that are really doing a lot of really amazing things. But out of all the clients that I've ever served, my wife and I say that the best job I've ever had actually started right in this room. It's my first real job that I ever got hired as a professional was the youth pastor here at Trinity. And so I remember setting up lights in this room. In fact, that giant eye hook was something that I installed so that we could have stringed lights. There's nooks and crannies, and there's still things that are broken in here that Pastor Joe doesn't know about that I broke and hid very well. But the thing that I realized while I was here is I got to see so many lives changed of students that stepped in this building. And to this day, like my wife and I will talk about some of the proudest moments that we've had have nothing to do with the stages that I've walked on or the hands that I've shook, but it was the students that were here in this room. And seeing them grow up, seeing them get married was a little weird, but seeing them have children made me feel ancient. And I remember I was talking to a student just in the room over there, and I said something about Toby Mac being part of DC Talk. And they looked at me and said, "Who's DC Talk?" I immediately knew that I was getting old. Now I feel all the more older. But one of the things I realized while I was here is there's things I'm good at and things I'm not good at. And one of the things I was not good at was asking people for money because the budget was this small to do all the things I wanted to do. So I had the dreams to do this, and I had the resources to do that. And my boss at the time was a lady named Kelly, and she was an awesome, incredible, amazing woman who slightly intimidated me because she was a former Wall Street exec who knew how to like squeeze a dollar out of nothing. And so I didn't know how to ask her for money. But she was by far one of the best bosses I've ever had because she taught me a lot. In fact, the only time I ever got in trouble with Kelly was when I didn't spend all my money. And she brought me and she was flustered. She said, "If this was Wall Street, you could have been fined for not spending all this money." And I was like, okay, I'll spend more money. But then more money gave me dreams to spend even more money, and I just didn't have the resources to, and I didn't know how to ask her for it. But I remember walking into her office one day, and she said, "Hey, I'm increasing your budget by this month." And I didn't know why. I never asked her. But what I had in conversation found out with her is that a bunch of the parents of the youth group had just been telling her stories. "Hey, my student went to this event, and I'm seeing life change. Like they're starting to come on Wednesday nights, and all of a sudden I'm seeing their spiritual life grow." And all of a sudden those stories made their way back to Kelly, and Kelly gave me money without even asking for it. And so what I learned is how to listen and watch and see what stories people tell about the ministry or the organization I'm with, and find a way to reproduce those stories so that other people can hear what's really going on. And if other people hear what's really going on, all of a sudden the right people are gonna like click and say, "Hey, that's what I wanna do with my time, that's what I wanna do with my talent, that's what I wanna do with my treasure," and they're gonna jump on board with that. And so I have a couple really practical things for you today. I think Ed said I have 40 minutes. I'm the world's shortest talker, so I promise you we're not going to go 40 minutes long. So sorry, Ed. I'll try to stretch it out. I'll tell more jokes or stories. But one of the things I want to do is really help give you some practical tools, because this is what I realized as I progressed in ministry. is that there are people that have much more passion and much more vision for what God is giving them to do than I do. And at first that really kind of like bothered me. Like, why do I not have these amazing, wonderful visions of what God could do here and what God could do there and what I could do with this? And I just realized he was giving those to other people and he wasn't giving it to me. As I was finishing my time in ministry, I was a pastor for almost 10 years, I realized this, that I actually, over the course of years, became really good at one thing, and that was asking people for money. I knew how to get really good at it, and I knew how to like get to the point to where like I didn't know what to do with the money that was coming in. So as I transitioned out of that, I realized that the skill set that God had taught me and was preparing me for all those years was to ask people for money. And that he was going to give the vision and the strategy and things to other people. But what I've realized with being around founders of nonprofits or leaders of nonprofits is sometimes the thing they hate most is asking people for money. So real quick, who here hates asking people for money? Yeah, most of us. That's where I come in. I realize God creates people like me. This is what I'm praying for you, is that the Lord surrounds you with people who are really good at asking other people for money and helping shape and craft that story so that your audience grows and that those donations come in to feed the vision that God's given you. So what I have is super practical. I've been here a couple times before, and sometimes it emphasizes really heavy on the spiritual side. As much as I'd love to do that and pray over y'all, sometimes when I was a youth pastor, I realized some of the most helpful stuff I learned was not like the super spiritual, it was the incredibly down-to-earth practical stuff. And the other thing I learned as a youth pastor is that some of the advice I heard was really amazing for a really big, awesome, amazing youth group, and it was completely useless to me with a youth group of 25. So what I have today is I have advice for both of you guys. If you have a super high dollar, $20 million a year nonprofit, I have some stuff that I hope really helps give you some practical advice. And if you're running off of like $300, I have some practical advice that will help you. And so whatever your nonprofit size is, there's going to be something that I hopes you raise more money and connect with more donors. So what I've noticed in my time is there are 5 mistakes that fundraisers and nonprofit leaders usually make. And so what I want to do is present those to you guys and help give you some strategy on how to avoid some of those mistakes. The 5 mistakes that I've seen people do is through the channels of what they try to communicate their story to their donors. What I'm going to say is I'm going to do a quick divide, that there's 2 types of communication to donors. The first one is with major donors. So however your organization categorizes major donors, maybe it's $5,000 a year and above, maybe it's $10,000 a year above, maybe it's $100. Whatever those major donor communications, I'm going to set that to the side, and I won't talk about that today because most of you guys probably have a lot of experience talking to major donors. If you're the leader of your nonprofit, you're probably interacting with them quite a bit. The second bucket is how do you scale? How do you talk to hundreds of people at a time? How do you talk to 1,000 people at a time? How do you talk to 1 million people at a time? That is the second bucket that I've seen a lot of mistakes happen with, that I'd hope to give you just some practical tools on how to correct what we call broad-based donors, which are people that you may not ever meet in your life, but they might be living halfway across the country, hear what you're doing, and say, hey, I need to get behind that. How do I support them? Because the truth is there is somebody out there that cannot wait to give you their money. They just don't know about you yet. There are things that God's put in people's heart that the second they find somebody who's doing that, they cannot wait to open their wallet and donate to you. The reason I know that is because there are things that are even close to my heart that nobody's asked me money for, but if they did, there would be no end to the amount of money that I'd give for them. For example, the church that I go to now doesn't have a youth pastor, but if they did, and if he asked me for money, I would give him whatever I could give. Because I've seen what happens when youth, all of a sudden, like in this very vulnerable time, start following Jesus and start understanding their faith. And it changes the trajectory of the rest of their life. And so because of that, I know the value of what youth ministry can be, and I will support youth ministry wherever I can find it. There's whatever your mission is, there's somebody out there that cannot wait to find out what you are doing, and that you don't even need to ask them for money. They will be giving it to you before you can know. So how do you find those people, and what mistakes do you make? First is social. People love social media, and I'm a huge fan of social media as well. Social media is one of the best ways to get your message out there, and I'll tell you right now, it is the cheapest way to get your message out there. So some of you guys might run your own social media account. Some of you guys might not have social media. Some of you guys might have entire agencies devoted to social media. But what I can tell you about social media is the most finicky dance partner you will ever meet, because there's this thing called the algorithm that changes all the time. So because of that, you have to change all the time as well. So what I would say is, even if you feel like you don't want to touch social media, I'll just tell you, you're leaving money on the table. Social media is one of the ways that people want to connect with you, and there's a lot of good ways to do it. What I can tell you works today will not work 6 months from now, and it won't work a year from now. But what I can at least do is help you with what the social media algorithm is doing right now. So the first one is that I'd hope you understand that there are two types of posts you can make. The first one is a still, graphic, picture, photograph. The second one is a video, selfie, highly produced, whatever it can be. Those are the two things that are out there. Right now, there's about a 70-30 split, where stills are doing really, really good. They're about 30%, and videos are still doing really, really good. But just to let you know, the algorithm shifted, and 2 years ago, it was nothing but video. If you put a still out there, your post was dead. It had to be video. This algorithm is swinging back the other way, and so if you want to get traction through social media, stills are doing really well. A graphic, a photograph, anything that you can do to help share your story is going to produce better in the algorithm. What I'll also say is if you're like me, you have like 5 photos on your phone because you hate taking photos. And what I can tell you is there is no better investment you can make than to get a professional photographer to come out and shoot some photos for you. It is one of the best returns on investment you can get, is get a good photo, what I'd call like a photojournalist photographer, who can get a story in an image so that when you post it, your audience sees something that you're doing instead of just hears about it or reads about it. But if they see it, they're gonna start believing it. So if you don't have a good one, I've got an army of good photographers that I'd love to send your way so that you guys can show people what you're doing. The second one is that it has to tell a good story. So whatever you are showing has to be inviting in some way. I've seen posts that are literally, I don't know what they mean. But if you look at it and there's something compelling about it, you're gonna stop the scroll and you're gonna read about it. That's where, again, a good photographer really is gonna come into play. The second one is that so many people, when they interact with social media, they don't interact with what is trending that day. And just to let you know, whatever is trending that day changes by the hour. But if you post at something at the right time, the algorithm is going to want to push that out to more people. So what I do with my clients is we don't schedule posts out for a week. We have some stuff that's scheduled a week, but we make our posts fresh and new that day, just like it was a bakery. We get in the morning, we see whatever topics are trending right then. We make a post that connects a real-time event to whatever their mission is, and the algorithm just eats it up. And it wants to spit it out and get it in front of more people. And so you might be saying, well, my organization has nothing to do with trending topics that are out there right now. And I tell you, that is not the truth. You can find a trending topic out there that has a slight connection to whatever you're doing, and if you can tell a story, people are gonna wanna read it. And so find whatever is trending. This is literally what you can do. Just open up X, hit trending, there's your topics for the day. Find one that works for you, and that's your post. And if you give a fresh post about something that's real with a compelling graphic, the algorithm is gonna want to use that and spit that out. The last one that I'll just say for socials is to use captions properly. A lot of times people will have a great post and there's no caption underneath, and I'll just tell you that's leaving a post out to die. Posts, social media work the same as Google, where there is a search algorithm that they want to make sure that your post is answering somebody's question. And so if you can plug in all the right keywords in your caption, social media is gonna love it. So just to let you guys know, long form captions are back in, and so write paragraphs of text explaining what you're gonna do. It won't do anything but help you. All of them. All of them, including TikTok. TikTok captions are really, really good. Of course, TikTok has limited stills, but everything that I said works for all of them. And what I'll tell you is sometimes our algorithm will reward one style over the other, which is why it's good to post on all platforms. So, and I'll tell you this, another thing that I see is a lot of people don't count YouTube as a social media, and I'll just tell you YouTube's the most important, hands down. In terms of importance, YouTube's at the top, everything else is a distant second place. And there's a lot of reasons that is, but I'll just tell you, out of every organization out there that wants to get small creators in front of larger audiences, YouTube is the best. They want that more than anybody else. Instagram used to be really good, then it was bad, now it's kind of like medium again. Facebook is always really, really bad, but that's just the way it is. Just a real quick aside, some of you guys might think, man, I put all this work and I get like 4 likes. The reason that it is because organizations, social media killed organic growth for organizations about 2 years ago. And so now, unfortunately, everything is pay to play for organizations, but groups and individuals, those perform really well. So I'll often take clients that organization content's doing really bad. We'll make an account for their founder, and he'll post it as if it's his personal post and ideas, and the same content shoots to the top. And so just to let you know, if you have an individual account, sometimes you can create it as you as an individual that points back to your organization, and you get better reach. So I could go, if you have social media questions, I could go on about it all day long to help you guys, whatever it is with social media. But here's the thing. When it comes to fundraising through social media, I just have one word for you. And it's about to come on the screen. And that's don't do it. Do not raise money on social media. Every single post you do that has some sort of ask to donate is going to do terrible. And there's nothing you can say, do, or change the fact that your fundraising posts are going to do awful. Social media is a storytelling machine. All you're doing is you're telling stories about the problems you're facing. You're telling stories about the solutions you're bringing. That's all it is. Because while social media is really bad at fundraising, there's one thing that it really is good at for bottom line revenue, and that's to convert somebody in your audience to an email. Because right now, 40% of all donations to nonprofits don't come through social media. They don't come through direct mail. 40% comes through email. So if you want to raise money by people that are not in front of you, like talking to you, have an email list. In fact, the number one thing that I'll find out when it comes to working with leaders is to determine how much money I can raise for them is down really to one single question, and it's how big is your email list? If your email list is really big, then there's a chance that we can raise a lot of money. If your email list is small, then there's a chance we can raise a small amount of money. So if you can convert a social follower to an email address, you're in good shape. And there's a lot of ways you can do that I'd love to help you out later. But just to let you know, email is the cheapest way to raise money. And so there's a lot of things that I can do to help you, but just know, like, unless you're sitting in front of somebody asking them for money, sending them an email asking for money is the very next best thing. And so there's a whole lot of things with email marketing that I could help you out with, but the first thing to do is just be specific in your ask. Hey, I'm facing this problem. We're helping this family with this need. I need $100. Can you please help me with that $100? If you are specific with the problem and specific with the solution and specific with how much money they need to donate, then there's a better chance of you getting money from that. Clear to call to action is just simply, I'm not writing you just to tell you about a problem. I'm writing to tell you that I need you to give right now to fix that problem. And then one of the biggest things that I've seen nonprofits do is they'll send one email out asking for money, and that's the worst way to do it. You spend 4 to 6 emails out for every single campaign asking people to money. You might be telling me, hey, I've done that before and not a whole lot of money has been raised, and I'll tell you the biggest problem with fundraising emails is that they don't send out weekly or monthly emails telling them all the amazing things going on. If If you send out a weekly email, hey, today, this is what happened in our organization and something really amazing happened. I just wanted to get this in front of you and share it. The more you tell people what the amazing things are or what's happening, when it comes time to that ask, then all of a sudden they get out their wallet and they give you their card right now. So be consistent with sending weekly or monthly emails, just sharing something that amazing that happened. Sharing a win, sharing just an event, sharing something that happened in real news and how that relates to you guys. So email is by far the best way to raise money from somebody you're not sitting in front of. So everyone, whether you have 2 people on your email list or 200,000 on your email list, everyone should be doing email marketing. Second one is website. What I was taught, the philosophy that I've lived with for most of my marketing life is if your website isn't working, nothing's working. And so just having a good functional website, which does not have to be complex, it doesn't need to be super crazy. If you just have a simple website that works, then there's ways people can give you to give money to you. So when you have a website, use all original content, which means do not use stock content. I know it's easy to just find a stock photo, throw it up on your website, and call it a day. But if you invest in a photographer who comes out, is able to capture your story, and you put it on your website, somebody who's maybe never heard of you or heard of you from a social post finds your website, sees something that connects with them, and from there, they're wanting to either give you their email list, take a next step, or give to you at that point. So the other thing you should worry about is your homepage should have an ask to donate at least 3 times on it. I've seen the worst thing that I've seen nonprofits do is they hide their ask to donate like deep in the website where they can't find it. It's going to be really hard to give to you if people can't see it. So on your homepage, if there's 3 places for them to give, then you're in a good spot. The last thing that I'd say is offer to give them something when they come to their website. One of the easiest things to do is an ebook. I've seen people do ebooks in 5 minutes on ways to change the social programming in Dallas. Whatever your mission is, you can create an ebook in 5 minutes, put it up on your website, and say, in order to get this, you need to give me your email address. If you can do that, then you've got a really good functional website. So who needs a website for their nonprofits? Everyone. Two last things that I have is, number one, the thing that I've seen a lot of nonprofits use to raise money is direct mail. And I'll just tell you right now, direct mail is really, really strong. In fact, who here thinks that direct mail accounts for over 20% of all nonprofits giving in the last year? No? 1? It actually accounts for almost 60% of all giving to nonprofits. So you might be thinking, wow, I got to go out and start doing direct mail tomorrow, and I can't stress enough that you most certainly do not need to do direct mail. The reason is because the people who give to direct mail are ones who they were only going to give to direct mail. They're not going to give digitally. They're not going to give everything else. And although it's 60%, it has been falling like a rock year over year over year because younger people do not give at all through direct mail. I can't tell you the last time. I maybe have written 1 check in my life. And so because of that, there's a habit of giving that is shifting from direct mail into digital, which is why website and email marketing is so good. I heard somebody say, do you want to know how to get millennials to give to nonprofits? I said, please tell me. I said, wait 20 years. So, fair enough, you know? But the thing about direct mail is, number one, the return on investment is really bad. You're going to spend a lot of money and not get that much money in return. 2, you have to have a huge list to do direct mail. And so if you have a huge, massive mailing list, then there might be some ways to do it. But it's just not worth it for 99% of all nonprofits out there, even though that's where a lot of money is. It's just not going that way. And the last thing to know is if your cause, if your mission really has a youth center at heart, you are throwing your money away. If it's something that appeals to people of all ages, especially older audiences, then you probably have a good idea or a good thing to investigate whether direct mail would work. There's the ones who are still writing checks. The rest of us all are scanning QR codes and going to websites and hitting link trees. So who needs to do direct mail? Someone sometimes needs to do it. Last one is texting. So what I'd say is if you haven't heard text-based marketing, it's pretty simple. You get a text message on your phone. Give somebody your phone number. They get a text message back that says, hey, welcome to Trinity Church. If you want to join this, then you can do this. And then all you do is wait a couple weeks, send them a text message and be like, hey, we have this event. We have this need. Will you be able to give? Now, I'll tell you with text-based marketing, the one thing you do need to know is that the open rates on texting is insane. About 90% of everybody who you'll text will read your text message. The problem with that is it is so easy to spam people on text. You guys know what I mean, because every single election cycle, you will get 20 texts a day from political campaigns asking you for money. Why do they do that? Because A, it works, but B, it also can infuriate people. So if you want to raise money from this, do it very, very seldomly. The other thing I'd say is it only really works if your organization is a real-time event organization, which means like you are speaking in front of people. Then you have conferences or you have something where you need an immediate interaction with somebody in a live setting. Text is amazing. Outside of that, it's hit or miss. So who needs to do text? Someone, sometimes. So what I want you guys to know is of all of these different ways to raise money for your organizations, know that social, you never need to do it. Email and website, everyone needs to do it. And then with texting and with direct mail, sometimes somewhere, but just know like what the return on investment is. But this is where I really want you guys to know that most of the people in the room are what I would call like the founders, the mission people, the ones who want to go out and they want to actually see the change in your organization. And this needs to be left up to somebody else. And so I'm praying that the Lord really brings that person alongside you that can do it or know it. But it's important for you guys to know what's working and what's not, so that you guys can have the right people around you and you don't have people that just are kind of guessing all the time. And so there's people out that are either in your organization that just need empowerment, or there's people that don't know about you yet. But either way, Cameron was even saying, like a season here at Trinity, he was looking for people and he just started praying. He's like, Lord, I'm looking for this type of person. Can you start sending me this type of person? And sure enough, the Lord answered that. So what do I hope? I hope you have more money to know than to spend than what you know what to do with. Because the Lord really has birthed something in most of you guys here to actually makes a difference. In order to do that, though, I've learned that asking people for money in the right way at the right time is the best way to invite them on a mission. I'll close by saying that when I was here, I was a pretty mediocre youth pastor, because if you were to walk in this room, the only adults really in this room would have been myself and my wife, because I was so bad at asking volunteers to help me, because I thought it was like a burden to them. Like, would you please come hang out with me on Wednesday night with a bunch of teenagers and just make sure nobody kills themselves? And I just thought it was just such a burden on their already busy schedule that why would they ever want to come hang out with a bunch of smelly, stinky teenagers in a room and tell them about Jesus? And what I learned is that I'm inviting them onto a mission that has a eternal spiritual reward that I can never pay for them. Only God can. But if I don't give them the opportunity to do that, then God doesn't have the opportunity to pay them back. And so that was the thing that unlocked me asking people for money. Money is a thing, it's a tool. But eternal reward, if I don't give you the opportunity to step into this mission and do something about it, then that's on me. And so the next place I was at, it was like a 5-to-1 ratio of adults to students. Like the students stopped showing up because there's too many adults, so I had to fire volunteers. Because I realized, man, there's an eternal reward for giving to the kingdom, there's eternal reward for serving in the kingdom, and I cannot promise that. I'm not the one who can do anything about that. That is God's mission to give to them. And so I pray for everybody here that you become bold and brave in how you ask people for money, whether you're sitting across from them or making a social post or writing an email. I pray that the Lord really gives you that mission to do it. I have a bunch of templates for all of this stuff, social posts, emails. If you want them, you can have them free. I don't really care about selling anything to you guys. I just know that you guys really have a mission from the Lord, and as much as I would want to serve everybody here, I trust the Lord will teach you how to do some things that you don't even know how to do, because everything that I've learned just came from trying and failing, and succeeding 1 out of 10 times, and then going on to something else. And so you guys probably are in that same boat, that you guys are willing to try something, and you're willing to fail at it a lot until you learn how to do it, and then you're willing to try and fail on something else to learn how to do that 10 more times and just keep on going and keep on going. So whoever's here on your 9th fail of trying how to raise money on doing something like this, I'm praying the next time you try is your 10th time and you get whatever the Lord has ready for you. So, Blair, do you want me to pray them out, Tim? What's the best? Oh. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's a great question. The answer is every single marketer on the planet figures it out at the same time. And that's when all of the posts that were doing really good start sinking like a rock, and something else you're doing is doing amazing. No social media publishes their algorithm, except for the first time in history, TikTok actually posts their algorithm just like a week ago. So we finally got like an insight into how do these things even work, and it's pretty telling. But just to let you know, that's why one of the things that helps about we're working with a large organization is they usually have the resources to see things much clearer than maybe like a smaller organization does. Is those larger ones manage so many accounts and followers that they see those trends over everything, and it's easy to like say, okay, this isn't just a fluke or one person's account. Everything's rising or falling. So just to let you know, Instagram, for some reason, on most people's accounts is going down in engagement, and Facebook is it's rising. So why? I don't know, but we know that that's the trend that's going on right now. Yes?
Thank you for all the gold nuggets you've been sharing. For a new organization with no broad-based strategy
Yeah.
yet, what would be step one?
Do you have a website and do you have social accounts?
We have a website. We do not have social accounts.
Okay.
Aside from personal ones.
Sure.
That we hardly update.
Well, so you have a website. Can you donate through that website?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Then you've got 95% of everything that you need to like really start. From there, I would focus on broad base on building engagement on social, and then at the right time converting that into an email list. So the way that you engage in social is you just start posting content. It doesn't matter if you get 1 like, 2 likes, 3, it doesn't matter. Just feed the algorithm gods by posting once a day. And eventually you'll get to a place where you start seeing a little bit of growth. And from there, there's a couple strategies on how to build it from there. But the best way to engage at like the very start is through social accounts. Oh, yeah. So that's a great question. If you pick up, I'll show you right now. X is the easiest. Instagram's pretty easy too, but just for, yeah, it's Twitter. So I'll tell you, even though Instagram has some really good stuff, a lot of my clients are like real-time news, and so I need to know like newsworthy topics. X is the best place. Instagram's a little bit more like lifestyle, here's my friends, things like that, so it's a little bit less real time, but if you go to X, go to... Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. If it's a big event or something big in the news, it's trending across all platforms. Each one has a little bit specific variation. Instagram's a little bit more social, so if it's like a celebrity, had an affair, that's probably trending on Instagram a little bit more than it's trending on X. But with X, you just go to the search button, and right there it says For You, and right next to it hits trending. There it is. So right now, the top post is about Cardi B. If I had anything to say about Cardi B, I would be posting right now. This morning, the Kennedy Center was on trending, and I wasn't planning on making a post about the Kennedy Center, but my team pushed out a couple posts about the Kennedy Center because it was trending. So
So if you use some sort of connection to the trending, it automatically pulls up.
yes,
Kennedy
absolutely.
Center, if you somehow say Kennedy Center and you're gonna get pulled up.
Absolutely. Now, it's not a guarantee, but it signals and it says to the algorithm, hey, this post is about this topic. Maybe I need to push it out to a little bit more people, or maybe I know where to push it out, and that's what you do. I will tell you, it's not a guarantee, but it really helps. And the other thing is for the most part, this is the working theory, so don't count me on this, but hashtags are dead. So you can add hashtags. I'm not going to say it's going to help, but if it's in the captions of the post, whatever keyword, Kennedy Center, had to be in the post several times, had to be in the graphic. If I got them in those two things, that functioned like what we know hashtags work at today.
So if you get a trending on X, let's say Kennedy Center, just because you're using that, and you post something on Instagram that somehow includes, so it's gonna be pushed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, it's not a guarantee, but it is a more guarantee because social media wants real-time engagement. And so a lot of people just think if I post for the next 3 months and just let them be, then it's good, and it's not. Things are happening every single day, and if people can interact with that, it's going to help. The other thing that's going to help you is if they hear the news about whatever event happened from you, they're going to trust you a little bit more. And if they trust you a little bit more, then when you come to like ask them for something, they're going to give to you because they trust you.
Okay, so we have a website, but we don't have a donate button because the gentleman that built our website said it was rude for us to ask for donations, so we don't even have a donation thing. And then we have like social media accounts, but we don't do anything with them because he was gonna do something. I think they're still like alive or awake or whatever they do there. We haven't done anything with them.
Okay.
So, should we just start over and not do anything with those? If we do ones?
If you have a pre-existing account, I would get access to it. Are you saying you don't have access to it?
No, he finally gave us
Okay.
access to it because we couldn't even do anything with our email. So Ariana was like, "Can we have like our stuff?"
Oh, yeah.
to it?" So we just got that information. So there's
Yeah.
nothing added for 2 years.
Sure. I would still keep the old accounts and just start publishing them once a day. I'll tell you, like, once a day is like minimum on some of my accounts. We're posting 6 or 7 times a day. Is it exhausting? Absolutely. But I think everybody could do like once a day, maybe 5 times a day. I don't post on weekends. I schedule those out because I want a life. But either way, get your accounts, keep your old accounts, and just start building, posting on those specific ones and maybe your personal ones.
Add a donate button on the website.
You'd need a platform to donate through. So two best ones is Fundraise Up, and the second one is Antidote, which is cheap. Fundraise Up is about 6% of all transaction. Antidote is 2% of all transaction. So it depends on how much money you want to spend. Fundraise Up is superior, but Antidote's, I'll plug it just because it's. PayPal should be a paying option, but it should not be your main source of donations. In fact, Fundraise Up integrates PayPal in there, so if they want to pay through PayPal, it still looks and functions like Fundraise Up, but it comes through on the back end as PayPal. But PayPal is not a good peer-to-peer transaction platform. Yeah.
So when you say caption, is that, you put it on your reels, right?
Great question. Reels captions are a little bit different because reel captions, they limit the characters, and so your reel captions just need to be, it's less important on reel captions, excuse me. Captions are less important on reels, is what I meant to say. But with video content, what they are measuring is different than it is on like posts with full captions. So real quick, 5 seconds. Video shorts is how you grow your audience. So if you can get video shorts, algorithms are going to push that out the most. But your captions mean less there, and your watch time means more. So shorter videos, super engaging hook helps people watch that caption, and then they'll engage with it and push it out. Am I out? It's all you.
Great information. Thank you.
Yeah.